Welcome back. Well, as you probably know by now, the UCI Claire Trevor School of the Arts has just some wonderful performances up there, and really it is an outstanding teaching facility for all kinds of arts. Well, today I have the pleasure of having Maestro Stephen Tucker on. I could say Dr. Stephen Tucker as well. I like calling you Maestro.
Stephen is fine.
But you oversee the music symphony orchestra there. Tell me about your background. How did you get to UCI?
Quick story. Born in Jamaica, studied in Jamaica, moved to New York, studied in Massachusetts, went to Vienna, studied at the Vienna Conservatory, came back, studied at UCLA, was hired at UC Irvine. Been there since 2000.
Wow.
What a fast story.
Yeah, that is a fast story,
Okay.
definitely. So tell me about the program there.
Okay, the orchestral program tries to prepare students not only for hoping to play in the professional world, but to fill all sorts of spots in the world. You know, there are jobs for librarians who must know about music, all the things about it. They sometimes fill teaching roles, obviously. Those are some of the biggest openings. But some of the things that the students never know about until they enter the orchestra is that it actually enhances all areas of study. We've had students from the medical department.
Wow.
Right now we have almost 40% of the orchestra is non-music majors.
Really?
Aerospace
Wow.
engineering, all sorts of engineering students, bio, all sorts of students participate in the orchestra. Plus, we have room that I create for non-music faculty. These are people who have gone to Yale and all sorts of places, who are very, very well-trained musicians, but they're in programs like criminology, physics, bio, history, art history, all sorts of things, and they want to continue to perform because it helps with their lives. So I carve out spaces for them so they participate too. And they also set an example for the students.
Yeah.
The example I want for them to see, you don't have to stay in music, although that's what we think we're training you for, but this trains you for everything in life.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the people that are in your orchestra are not just, I assumed that they had to be part of the music program there.
Don't
But
have to be.
They audition like anyone else.
Absolutely.
Then.
Everybody has to audition every year. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in the orchestra, you must audition again at the start of the year.
Wow.
Everybody.
Now, what about the students that are in your program? Are they studying all different levels of either playing in a symphony or just enhancing their own musical skills for something else later in life?
Right. We have a full-fledged music program, including graduate school. So we have students who are studying at the undergraduate level, some who are doing bachelors of music, some are doing bachelor of arts. So in other words, they've decided already they're not really trying to pursue a performance degree. They're preserving the option to do anything else. And many of my students have gone on to law school from the orchestra. So that's where this works for them. The graduate students have decided by then that they want to focus more on music, and you know, for whatever reason, they're composers, they want to be teachers, some of them do want to perform still. So the program is fully fleshed out, you know. They do all the academic work and the performance practices.
How difficult is it for musicians today, people who go through your program, who may be in your orchestra, and they have already decided, I want this profession, wherever it may take me, whether being in a professional orchestra somewhere, maybe playing somewhere within the music industry, whatever it may be.
How difficult is it?
It almost, to me, to a lay person like myself, it seems almost as difficult as someone who wants to enter professional sports.
That's a good analogy. It seems. I thought about this for a long time, and then I over the past maybe 3 months, I've been having an opportunity to look at some of the past students I've had. And it was very hard for me to find somebody who was not participating in a career somewhere.
That's great.
I mean, it's amazing. I get emails from somebody, he's in Germany. What is he doing? He is an artist manager he's working with a major orchestra, or he works with a company that works with all the orchestras. He's in Germany with the Chicago Symphony because he's working on making sure that their tour goes well. I run into somebody at the NAMM show, and I think, well, he was in my orchestra, and now he's opening for one of the big bands, that most people would know, but I don't really follow. But his band is opening for them, and I thought, oh, he was in the symphony.
Yeah.
As a bass player, now he's a professional musician. I mean, I could go on and tell you all the people. The ones that shock me most are the ones who end up becoming veterinarians, lawyers, and I thought, where did that come from?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. But it reminds me that there are people who enter music are multi-talented.
Yeah.
They're not just talented in music.
Well, people who work in the industry, work in orchestras with the LA Philharmonic, Pacific Symphony, or something like this, are those considered full-time jobs, or can those musicians be lawyers, be other types of jobs, and then they do that as well?
Not when you're in a place like the LA Philharmonic.
Okay.
That's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Because they're playing just about all year.
Which is great.
Yeah, of course, yes. And there are lots of orchestras in the world that allow people to participate on a part-time basis because the orchestras operate on a part-time basis.
Okay.
And I always remind my students that when you go places and you're the vet in town or you're the village lawyer, don't give up your music. The orchestra needs you, the community needs you for that. And the other thing we keep forgetting is that when we train these people, these are now some of the most savvy audience members you could ever find. And they're going to bring another generation of children behind them who will know something about the life-changing effects of music.
We were talking in the green room a little bit about the Amazon series and Mozart in the Jungle, and which you said you watched all of them. I've watched all of them, and the interesting thing that I took from it, as we were talking, you did too, is it gets people interested. They may not be musical like myself, I'm not, but it gets me interested in symphonies, and maybe saying to myself, I haven't been to one since I was a kid. Maybe it's fun. Maybe I should go and go and experience one.
And what it did to you is what I think it's doing to a lot of people, because as I told you, I was approached by someone, a lawyer, who said to me, "Have you watched it?" And I said, "No." And her only interest was how well are they doing as musicians? That part I had to answer honestly, but after that I said, maybe I should watch it. And I actually watched the series.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, this is fantastic soap opera about music and about the orchestral life, which then pulls people in because of the storylines. But they actually see that musicians are real people with real challenges and real joys, as you see in their lives, are really very much like everybody else.
Another thing along those lines, which was great to see this year, is that they finally brought back the Academy Award, the orchestra, into the room.
Right.
For, I don't know, the last 10 years or something, they were actually in another building.
Outside,
They were in, I think, the Capitol's record building, and they were piping in the music. It was so nice to see that back again. Tell me about your upcoming symphony. It's called Expanding the Future. It's going to be on March 11th.
Yes. The program is designed, the entire year is a celebration of UCI's 50th anniversary. And it really talks about bright future, brilliant past and so on. And so I chose to create a program for every concert this year that spoke to something about the future. Now, this program, Expanding the Future, is not expanding our present future. It actually is expanding the future from somebody else's point of view, from the 1800s. So if I were to look at my favorite composer's view of the future, Brahms, from 1883 or so, very early, in his life, when he was about 40, at 1883, he was by then 50. So if you look at his view of the future and how he expanded the language of the symphony, or chamber music, it was really based on traditional structures. But in this program, we've changed the program because I was supposed to have a guest, and we decided it would be better to have her come later.
Okay.
So the program now opens with Sibelius's Finlandia, right, which shows the nationalistic trend that came about during the later portion of the 19th century. Brahms himself stuck to, as much as he could, the traditional symphonic structure that Beethoven left him, but created some progress. And then after that, Ravel, which is the piano concerto in G major. Ravel actually was looking at what was going on, jazz, things like that, and trying to incorporate some of that into it. So their future view, their view of their future, is what I call the expansion, or the expanding of the future. So you have those three pieces on the program, and I can tell you it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it is. And if you're interested in going, by the way, very easy. Go online to arts.uci.edu/tickets. Also, the number is 949-824-2787. And of course, there they can find out about all the upcoming performances, right?
Absolutely. Everything about the School of the Arts, all the dance, all the drama, all the art productions in the galleries, and all the music productions are there.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. It's been a pleasure having you come on today.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good luck to your entire program. I think it's fantastic that UCI is kind of getting the word out about all their artistic programs there.
Thank you, Ken.
Fantastic. We hope to see you again.
I certainly hope so.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe we'll come up there one day.
Perfect.
That would be fun.
Okay, good.
We'll be right back.
Join the crowds who have discovered fresh, hot bagels baked all day at Bagel